like to call the Site Plan Review Committee to order for Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kodowski,
Here.
Gary Paul,
Here.
Dennis Persick,
Here.
Dale Quinn,
Here.
Dan Pamprin,
Here.
Peter Rathburn,
Here.
and Krowski's excused.
Please stand for the pledge.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remember our men and women throughout the world in uniform. I have no changes to the agenda. I need a motion to approve.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Motion carried. Number 5, action on the minutes from the site plan review of June 18th, 2024. Okay, motion by Dan to approve. And we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Motion carried. Thank you. Number 6, action items. 6A, consider, discuss, act on a site plan review request by Cormier Property Partners LLC for parcel VA-103-A at the northeast corner of Holmgren Way and Cormier Road for a mixed-use development. Joel and Katie.
All right, thank you, Madam President. Aaron is away on
New site plan committee.
personal business, so he asked Katie and I to fill in, so we'll walk through the application that's before you today. So this is a site plan review request by Cormier Property Partners LLC as applicant and owner of the property. This is the corner here at Cormier and Holmgren Way. They're requesting a site plan for parcel VA 103A, again on that northeast corner of Holmgren Way, Cormier Road. The village has been working with Cormier Property Partners for the past several months in effort to enter into a development agreement for the property, conditioned on the approval of zoning and site plan to develop this particular property with what is being proposed this afternoon for site plan review. The vacant parcel is currently zoned B3 Community Business. There is a request to rezone the property to VC Village Center to help facilitate this redevelopment. The overall site is 7.790 acres, and the proposed use is for a mixed-use development with first floor commercial, multifamily common space on the first floor, and again, apartments on floors 2 through 5. The first floor will also provide covered parking. There will be overflow parking for events both at Capital Credit Union Park and the Epic Event Center as part of this overall development. The subject building that is being proposed has a maximum roof height of 58 feet 4 inches, which is below the 60-foot height requirement for this particular area. Under Village Code, parapet walls may be extended up another 10 feet above the 60-foot height as permissible, again, under Code 17.5.200, sub D3. The subject building conforms to the maximum and minimum setbacks within the Village Center District, so that is one of the purposes of rezoning it to that district, to maintain that urban environment or urban look that you're seeing with the proposed site plan. There is a condition under the staff report, which we'll go through briefly later, that talks about buildings in excess of 50 feet do require airport permit from Austin Straubel Airport, which is a condition of approval. As indicated in the site plan packet, the proposed development includes a single first floor structure with 2 separate apartment buildings on floors 2 through 5. So if you think of that first floor is going to be that common space, covered parking, and then retail areas, and then 2 separate towers, if you will, that will cover the apartments on floors 2 through 5. This is permissible within the Village Center District. There's minimum setbacks, as we talked about earlier. The overall project includes a total of 152 apartment units, including studio, 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. The separate buildings are adjoined by an outdoor patio area, so on top of that first floor common space retail area, there will be a patio above that with other common spaces. The exterior materials of the building include brick veneer, wood finish, metal cladding, storefront glazing on Holmgren and Cormier elevations, and metal wall panel cladding as well. In accordance to the municipal code, all metal wall panels and cladding are to utilize fully concealed fasteners and have a minimum 3-foot masonry wainscot from the finished grade. Rooftop or ground-mounted mechanical units are to be screened from view from parcels, boundary, and streets right away. As you look at the overall site plan, you can see that the overall building encompasses the adjacent corner of Cormier and Holmgren, and the substantial parking areas that are being provided in both support of the retail space, the residential uses, and overflow parking to Capital Credit Union Park and Epic Event Center are located to the east and south of the overall building. All told, there are 43 commercial parking spaces that are kind of reserved for commercial purposes, 230 residential stalls, which includes 84 indoor spaces, and 295 total spaces for events at Capital Credit Union Park and Epic Event Center. You may be asking, well, why is this private developer interested in providing parking for the adjacent ballpark and Epic Event Center? It is owned by the same investment company that is involved in both of those business ventures. So the same individuals that own the Rockers and own the Epic Event Center are an investment in this particular project. So it benefits all three ventures to provide that parking. Landscape islands are meeting the requirements for the parking lots, are located along the exterior and interior of the lot. A green space and patio is located near the apartment building to serve area residents. So if you look at the parking lot here, this centered area is kind of that green space parking commons area for residential uses. They'll have areas for grilling and things like that in that area. There is an enclosed refuse area located on the south end of the green space. So that dark boxed area on the site plan indicates that refuse area. And there is an 8-foot wide sidewalk that extends around the perimeter of the parking lot from Cormier Road to Holmgren Way. So there is an 8-foot sidewalk that connects from Cormier, wraps around the entirety of the parking lot, and then the next egress is at Holmgren Way. So that'll provide that connectivity between the parking lot at this particular development and the two adjacent uses at Epic Event Center and Capital Credit Union Park. As the sidewalk passes immediately adjacent to the stormwater pond, there is a request that a decorative fence be placed along the south and west ends of the perimeter of that pond at a minimum to ensure that individuals aren't making their way into the pond unnecessarily. The village, as a part of this particular development, will be proposing as part of its budget to install some mid-block crossings at various points that will include rapid flashing beacons. One of those would be at a crosswalk adjacent to that sidewalk that connects at Cormier to allow pedestrians and bicyclists to cross safely at that intersection. If you're familiar with those rapid flashing beacons, they're the yellow crosswalk signs, push a button and it flashes intermittently. There's also proposals to place 2 rapid flashing beacons as part of next year's budget at Balin Court and Marvell Lane on Holmgren Way as well, to again accommodate the increase in traffic and the use of pedestrians going to and from not only this facility, but Capital Credit Union Park and the Epic Event Center. Bicycle parking is indicated on the overall site plan, and so there are spots that are designated that you can't necessarily see at this level, but they are indicated on the sheet, and there is a condition under the staff report that identifies that as well. Again, this subject property is requested rezoned to Village Center VC District to allow for that urban design standard to be permissible at this time. In your packet are the various staff conditions that we are requesting the Site Plan Review Committee approve as part of this review. I'll go through those for the record. The first item to be addressed under the staff condition is that this obviously achieves a permit from the airport for a building higher than 50 feet tall. We do need to have this building or this property be rezoned to that Village Center district. Fully concealed fasteners for all metal wall panels are required. All metal wall panels and cladding are to include a minimum 3-foot masonry wainscot from finished grade. Screening any rooftop or ground-mounted mechanical units visible from the property's boundaries or public right-of-way are required. and then any and all other applicable requirements as required by site plan review. From the engineer, they have indicated that a formal submittal of civil plans to the village engineer for review and approval are necessary. This includes submission of a stormwater management plan to the village engineer for approval. We've had some discussions with them about impacts to construction and road right-of-way. With this building being so close to the right-of-way along Holmgren and Cormier, it is anticipated that there may be some lane closures necessary for construction at certain periods of time. With the NFL draft coming in 2025, it's important that we ensure that certain lane closures aren't being overly disruptive to the traffic during that period of activity. Next page of conditions talks about erosion control measures that are required throughout the development of the project. Knox box and fire department locations for those placements are necessary, and the village forester should receive a detailed landscape plan with a planting schedule to be reviewed and approved by the village forester. And finally, as talked about in the staff report, installing a decorative fence along the western and southern sides of the stormwater pond to curtail anybody entering into that pond area for safety reasons. And then finally, any bicycle parking rack should meet the standards of the Association of Pedestrian and Bicycle Professionals. With that, certainly I'm capable of providing answers to questions. Katie is here to answer as well. The developers are in the audience and they can answer any specific detailed technical questions that the committee may have.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
I have one question in regards to the Cormier side. Based upon the traffic flow and things, approximately where do you plan to have an additional crosswalk compared to the actual intersection of Holmgren and Cormier? Along the Cormier side, the south side of the property, will there, you had mentioned possibly some blinking lights or flashing lights, especially if there are activities there and there's obviously a bigger flow of traffic.
Yeah, so it's hard to picture on this. So if you look at the site plan, the sidewalk that extends down to Cormier, I don't have an exact measurement, but I can get that shortly. Essentially, that mid-block crossing would be somewhere in that location to connect. There is sidewalk on the south side of Cormier, so that would connect their trail sidewalk to the sidewalk on the south side of Cormier, and those individuals can walk to the Epic events.
Approximately, that's okay. Not off the top of your head, would you know? That's okay.
I'd hate to, I don't know if Excel Engineering has any ideas of what that is off the scale. I don't have it right in front of me, but
Approximately 500 feet from the intersection.
yeah, so it's a pretty decent distance.
Yeah, I was just curious, relative to where the majority of the traffic's going to want to end up on the south side of that. I'm just curious as to whether or not it would be at the far end of the parking area or whether it be in the middle of the parking area to kind of accommodate wherever they're crossing over.
As far as where Epic is in relation to the.
Yeah, because I would assume that's probably going to be the primary traffic.
Yeah, I can kind of pull up an aerial so that you can see it. And now I just need to get back to what I'm presenting here. So this is the site that is under discussion today. This is the former Green Bay Packaging building that was raised a little over a year ago. And so the development itself, the building will be tight to the corner of Cormier and Holmgren. The stormwater pond is on the far eastern edges of the property here along this tree line. And so that sidewalk will probably be somewhere located in this general area here. And the Epic Event Center is located right at this corner here. So there will be some walking that you will need to do to come down to get to the egress point there to get to that strip.
Yeah, but you'll have enough of it's not going to be a flow of traffic all going through one intersection, and especially as busy as that intersection would most likely be.
Correct.
Okay, that's all I had.
I know that Joel and I had discussed because of the pedestrian crosswalk there, that it has to be the one with the rapid blinky lights because,
Is that similar to the one up by Lodge Kohler? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, there'll likely be some type of structure that'll be necessary, given the number of lanes of travel that are on Cormier and Holmgren. So if you're familiar with the one that's on the western edge of Cormier, down towards, is that Pioneer? I think there's one at Pioneer and Cormier,
Santa Monica?
Santa
or
Monica.
Santa Monica. Santa Barbara?
Santa Barbara. So that's only a 2-lane road, so a simple single signpost is necessary, but like on Ridge, you have 3, 4, 5 lanes of travel. Some type of sign bridge of some type of structure would be necessary to provide in that area. So that would be part of that project.
I know that this isn't part of the site plan, but I'm just wondering with getting more people down there, if we should look at the speed limit also at some point. Just to throw that out there. So,
Well, with the amount of people the apartments are gonna draw, it'd probably be something to look at, but it's really nice to see a nice development that come on that property. I'm surprised at the 8-foot sidewalks. I think that's something in this pedestrian area, especially in the sports district. We need wider sidewalks in that area. They claim they're meeting the code, but why are they just still 4-foot sidewalks? So that's a nice improvement for the traffic they got. Really, it's a great project. I know our staff does a good job on putting everything together to meet the ordinances of the village. I don't know what you're gonna nitpick apart here. The only thing they did bring was an application for me to, I wanna get the top floor on the corner of Cormier and, Holgram, so I can catch all the speeders going through the stop and go lights. Other than that, if there's no other questions, I'll move to approve the project as presented with staff conditions.
I would second it.
okay, we have a motion and a second to approve with conditions of approval. Are there any other comments, concerns, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. It is beautiful project. Thank you.
Here comes your backup.
Okay. Number 7, department reports.
I can probably better speak to that, but continues to just be another busy summer in Ashwaubenon with development. We are nonstop, but it's good. It'd be helpful if the rain would hold up a little bit. That is putting some projects behind, just with the amount of water they've had to pump out. But updates on a couple projects: Bergstrom Hyundai on Ramada, thinking final inspections around mid-August. And Bell and Surgery Center floors 3 and 4, thinking starting final inspections probably mid to late September. Both exciting projects for the area.
Yeah, nice projects. Okay, do you think that there will be items for next agenda?
We have one that's submitted that hasn't paid yet, so unsure, but we should know by the end of the day today.
Okay. And then our next meeting is due to be August 6th, and that is,
We have
On a
one-
Tuesday?
We have one
oh,
next
not
week
the next,
already.
yeah, I'm sorry. Not the next one, but the August 6th meeting is, we have to move that date because that is National Night Out, right? So if we can move that to, we can't move it to the 13th because that's Election Day.
Oh.
So we can't move it to the following Tuesdays. So what do your calendars look like? Anything on the 7th? Which is Wednesday.
You can't have other ones that night.
Right. But we could move site plan.
We could.
Does that work
Are you
for?
proposing the 7th?
I would say I would move site plan to Wednesday, the 7th, if possible. At 3.
That's fine.
Does that work?
Works for me.
We'll make it work.
Okay, so we'll move that one to August 7th. The ones, Plan Board and Public Works will have to be moved to a different date, but. Okay. If there's nothing else out there, I need a motion to adjourn.
So move. Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
This conference is